Okay, welcome everybody. We're delighted that you're all here. Thank you to the students who are here visiting and going to be spectators to this important pitch competition. I just personally want to thank you. I'm John Hannon, founding director of the Brooke T. Smith Launchpad. And on behalf of President Clements and my immediate boss, Max Allen, who is the chief of staff for President Clements, we want to welcome you here today. Max Allen, who's a retired Navy officer and chief of staff, like I said, to President Clements, will be here. He'll address the crowd at 2 o'clock while the judges are convening. But this is a dream come true. We had another event like this. We had a high school summer camp here this summer, 50 students. We rocked them for 5 days straight. And that was a long-standing dream of mine. And this has been a shared dream with myself and Frank Blake and his delightful wife, Jennifer. And we're super thankful to them. Frank is here. Why don't you stand up, Frank? I mean, he's a very modest, humble guy, but yeah, let's give it up. So we've been dreaming about this for multiple years. We did kind of a test run last year, and it went very well. And Frank has provided the funding for this event to happen for the next 5 years. We do have a trophy that has room for 20 more years in addition to the first 5. So hopefully this will be a long-standing Clemson tradition. So I just want to quickly go through this and thank President Clements. This is a picture of him. It's not a typical picture. I watched him go to the back of the line at the softball stadium and get in line with his daughter. He could have had food delivered to his seat. He could have went to the side window, but he got in line with everybody else. And that's indicative of who he is here on this campus. Max Allen, some of you may know him or see him. He's my boss, and he's just the ultimate supportive individual. And he, encouraged us to do this event here today. You'll hear from him a little bit later. This is our team. Liam is this guy right down here taking pictures, and we're recording this event and so forth. I'll just work from there. Susan is where? Susan is in the back, and she can be of help to anybody who needs help. She's at the welcome desk that we have there. Maggie is Maggie to the rescue. She's everywhere. I don't know where she is in a given moment, but give a wave, Maggie. And also we have Kimberly, who is here helping out today as well. She's our newest addition to the team, and it's been super helpful and very hospitable. So Michelle and I have been together for 4 years. I was a one-man band, and she was helping for a number of years, and thankfully she came on full-time when we moved into this place about 1.5 years ago. But long story short is she's done a remarkable job. She's poured her heart and soul into this event, and probably the biggest compliment we got already today was from somebody who saw us in the parking lot at 7:40 greeting people and said, "Do you always do things at this level of excellence in this first class?" And I said, "Yeah, we do. I mean, we hold ourselves to very high standards." The recipe for our success here at the Launchpad is threefold. One, it has been faith. We just always believe things are going to work out, and they do. The second is work, and these are two biblical terms, but we work our heads off to make sure that it happens and have sleepless and or low sleep nights. And then the third thing is Clemson family, and Frank Blake is a representative of that, as are other people here, particularly our judges and our mentors coaches that we had. But you throw those three things in a pot, and without fail, we succeed. And so we're super excited about that. So that's basically, my thank yous. Could you just, before we get too far down the road, just give a hand for Michelle and for Maggie and for Kimberly and for everyone here. So I'm gonna, and we have other interns working. Molly's running around here someplace. Patty, Gianna's here, I think, as well. So I'm gonna turn the mic over to Michelle, and we'll do a quick intro. We do have a schedule. It took us a minute to get organized. We do have an online audience going too, and judges, and they've been briefed as to what expectations we have for them. Their ultimate deliverable and everybody's ultimate deliverable here is to get a ranking one. We have 10 teams, but to rank first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Let me just point out our judges. Mark Roth is here. Mark works at Kerf and is a very accomplished business person and technology transfer expert. Scott Tannen, who has ever heard of Boll and Branch? Boll and Branch. Scott is the founder of Boll and Branch. And so his, and they branched out into Beyond Sheets, but his sheets and linens are on Air Force One and in the White House and that kind of thing. He's a proud parent of 3 daughters here at Clemson. Dave Bedard and his wife Carrie was one of the coaches. We don't think, we gave him a warning, you know, no collusion, but David probably do the opposite of what she told him to do anyways. But so David has 2 daughters, one who's still here and one who graduated. Steve Hanvey is a recent graduate of the Clemson MBA program, 2017, 2018. Yeah. So to his credit, and he went back to school. He's also a very accomplished helicopter Apache test pilot and oversaw test pilots for fixed wing aircraft too for many, many years. And Tom Weaver is came in from Denver for the weekend. He has a child who's on the verge of coming here, and also is a very accomplished individual who has tons of corporate experience at, among other places, AWS. And so that's a little bit of a brief background. Well, you have that other, oh, okay. Okay, so we have several of our other coaches in the room here. Rick Case is here, Edward Yard, and so we have a thank you slide for them that we're going to do at the very end, I guess. So Michelle's going to operate us here. We're only 5 minutes behind, so we put a big gap in prior to the 1 o'clock start. So we're doing 5 teams, and then we'll keep going with the next 5. So thank you, Michelle. Can't say enough about her.
Okay, we'll go on ahead and get started. So our first team that's up, and we just went in alphabetical order, is Bit O'Shade. We have Kelly and Scott Beam. They're going to have 5 minutes to present, and then there'll be 5 minutes of questions from the judges. All right, we appreciate all of you attending. This is going to be amazing. These teams have worked really hard. They're awesome. You're going to really enjoy it.
So I've always been a lover of the outdoors. Growing up just 7 miles from the South Carolina shoreline, Folly Beach was my teenage playground. Later, our family enjoyed countless sunny days with splashing kids around our backyard pool. Sounds fun, right? Well, the reality is that sun, it's brutal. I learned that lesson firsthand after being diagnosed with melanoma, a tough reminder that even our favorite outdoor moments can carry hidden danger. We all know those familiar disparagers of fun in the sun, squinting through glare, sweating through heat, worrying about skin-damaging, cancer-causing UV rays, and wrestling with umbrellas that never really put the shade where you want it. It was those frustrations and my personal wake-up call that ignited my passion to create Bit of Shade, a smarter, simpler way to enjoy the outdoors safely. Hi, I'm Kelly Beam, co-founder of Beam Away, along with my husband, Scott, and together we determined to prove that sun protection doesn't need to be so complicated. Our patented lightweight sunshade protects the face, head, and neck, the areas most vulnerable to UV damage and where nearly 80% of all skin cancers begin, all while keeping users cooler and more comfortable. Its sleek arched canopy moves with the sun, blocking glare and heat without the hassle of always having to reposition your chair. From the oath we took so many years ago to our purpose with Beam Away today, our mission still rings true: protect and defend. Turning adversity into action, the mission for our products is to protect health, restore comfort, and empower others to do the same. We're launching 2 models: Be Ready, a portable retail version for travelers and recreational users, and Be Steady, a commercial-grade design for resorts, hotels, cruise lines, and homeowners seeking a more permanent, high-end solution. Both prioritize durability, customization, and convenience. Shade features 3 distinct positions. The next slides feature our Be Steady model with its obvious customization potential shown. The full position allows for maximum shade and protection. Our canopies are verified to have the UPF 50+ protection and deliver up to a 40-degree difference in temperature under the shade. The half canopy position still allows for plenty of shade, but opens up that front arch to allow an even larger field of view to watch the kids play nearby. The Be Ready model weighs just 2.5 pounds and has a UV-resistant strap fitting most chair backs up to 30 inches and features an ergonomic chin relief for comfort while lying face down. The crescent position allows for maximum view while still maintaining overhead coverage. The unique design of our arches allows the users to easily slide the canopy from side to side. 2 inside mesh pockets allow for storing personal items up off the sand. Shade fills the gaps in a niche market. This chart illustrates how our feature-rich product stands out. Since specific data on our most direct competitors is not available, I'll use the beach umbrella sector as my benchmark. Currently, this sector commands $2.6 billion in the North American sales annually. Research indicates that the drivers for this shade market are innovation, portability, wellness, design, and simplicity. Well, I couldn't have scripted it any better. That's exactly what the Shade delivers. It's the right product at the right time for a huge market. Our D2C sale or retail model will target the 3.4 billion annual US beach visitors, while the B2B side will focus on resorts and the 31.5 million annual cruise travelers. Within 5 years, we project a 20 million plus in annual sales. We couldn't have reached this point without incredible support from our South Carolina partners, South Carolina MEP, the VBOC organization, and our home is at the Citadel, and the SBDC, and our members at Bold Sky, our mentors at Bold Sky Foundation. And finally, a very heartfelt thank you to the Blake family and the Clemson University for supporting veterans and celebrating the entrepreneurial spirit that keeps innovation alive.
Can you share, thank you very much. Can you share a little bit more on your economics, cost to produce versus what you're planning to sell it for?
So we are currently, we have a business plan thanks to our mentors that Kelly mentioned earlier. So we have a pro forma and a business plan. We have manufacturing set up. I know your question was geared towards financials, and that is still in the works. Currently, our gross margin for the D2C, we're looking at about 70% with current figures. And in the wholesale market, just over 40%.
And I'll add, so far as financial goes, Scott and I, out of our personal savings, we've contributed $175,000. These are expensive shades. But what we know we need the financial backing of investors or a bank loan or something like that. So that'll be our next step before we can get into the manufacturing and the minimum order purchase.
How many prototypes have you done, and at what scale are you talking about to get to that gross margin?
So prototypes, I think we have currently 4. The Be Ready was laser printed, and we are seeking for injection molding as the final operation. And can you repeat, you said something about how do we...
What the economics at scale when you said 70 and 40?
Right. So Kelly, as far as our initial order of 2,000 units, right, that's what we have scheduled so far. And our first market is going to be D2C. So that is where we hope to grow the Be Ready is direct to customer. And then on a parallel path, but slightly behind that, is going to be the wholesale.
Again, being new to the whole business idea of things. So are you asking, like, by the end of the year 2026, how many units we are hoping to sell and what that income would be? Well, that's right off the bat. I mean, on our first order we had to make a minimum order of 2,000. And so right from that point, everything is, as far as the pro forma cost of goods and everything else like that, everything points to that 70% for retail.
So if you could go back a couple slides where you talk about the market size, we're at 2.6 billion right now for the umbrella market, projecting at 4.6 billion for 2033. Can you just talk a little bit about how that's happening, what's driving that business?
Right. So with that right there, that came, I researched several different sources.
information.
Yeah. And so everybody was kind of over the board, across the board with numbers and figures and stuff like that. So that particular number that I used there, the 2.6 billion, also showed the market drivers. And I think that when we look at that, the market drivers, that kind of shows where Bitishade fits that bill. Yes. All of those. If I can turn around and see my own screen, it is a growing market. Thank you.
Really quickly, first of all, I have my spouse is my co-founder, so good luck with that. Can you guys talk a little bit about direct to consumer being a core channel for you guys? How are you thinking about customer acquisition costs?
Well, we have our domain name, bitishade.com, and so we're going to set up that website, and that will be where most of our sales flow from, is that particular website, and that's where we will direct all of our marketing to our website.
Okay, thank you, judges. Thank you, Kelly and Scott. Okay, next up, we have Counter Safe. We have it with Jacob Weber and Yoshiara. And they are from Nashville, Tennessee. Kelly and Scott were from Charleston, South Carolina.
All right, so thank you everyone for coming. So I want to start off with some information. So the Secret Service's original mission isn't only just to protect the president, but it's also to find counterfeit currency. They were established in 1865 for that exact reason. Now, what if I told you that way they do that and they find currency and they do this counterfeiting, it hasn't changed since. And what is one of the big reasons why? Because legacy solutions have not adopted technology the way it should. And that's not just for counterfeiting, but also document fraud and also theft within businesses. So we are CounterSafe, and we're going to be the modern loss prevention platform to detect, determine, and deter. So what is the problem? Businesses are losing billions each year because legacy solutions aren't keeping up. So some highlights here. So 150 billion is lost each year, especially in 2026 for retail. We're looking at over 5% annual losses to business for occupational fraud, which is the form of document fraud. And also there's over 200 million in constant circulation in counterfeit bills across the US. It's a big problem and businesses are losing millions. So some real world evidence within the last 6 months. So we have Home Depot lost $10 million in Southern California across 600 incidents. We have 20 million in New York City across a retail scam recently, and then over 80 million in IRS check fraud. These are not just individual incidents, they're happening every day and happening across the US and even globally. And the thing is still these problems have not been fixed. So what is being spent on these? What are businesses doing? So they're spending over 100 billion across these 3 different verticals on mitigation practices. Yet even after spending over $100 billion, they're still losing so much more money. So the thing is why has it been, and what are the problems that they are encountering? So we've talked to individuals, the victims of these crimes, the agencies that deal with it, and we found that businesses, especially small businesses, all the way up to large corporations, lack the resources and training needed to actually deal with these problems. And so one of the big things too is on-site loss prevention, which is meant to deal with this, is honestly at halftime it's too expensive or they don't have enough manpower. So they need something that's more of a cost-effective solution to really work through that. And then looking at government agencies and law enforcement, the information is so spread all over the place that it's impossible to connect the dots. And individuals in these agencies take months to even years to build cases, develop patterns, and catch these criminals. So kind of going through, so how do we figure this out? So we're going to attack 3 different solutions in our core digital platform. And so we're going to be doing DocuSafe, MarketSafe, and CurrencySafe. We're going to be harnessing AI and data analytics, and we're creating a network and ecosystem that's going to make a smart platform to handle the problem. So for DocuSafe, we're going to be working with document fraud. So both digitally and physically, you're going to understand if a document's been tampered with. Market Safe, which is going to connect businesses about different theft incidences and also analyzing video after the fact to understand businesses what's happening in their stores. And then Currency Safe, which you're going to be able to scan with your smart device whether this currency is fake or not. And so these things I'll go through in QA. There's more in-depth look. And then kind of our business approach. So we're going to be doing a SaaS model. And we're going to do plug and play for our customers' needs. And along with that, our pricing is going to be changing between data size and organizations' amount of employees they need. So the biggest thing is we're going to be doing B2B. It's going to be our core segment. We're also going to be working with the government and also law enforcement. Then law enforcement piece, we're going to be selling data to them to help actually create these cases. And so kind of our financial outlook. So we've identified over 100 business retail chains within the US. There's over 300,000 locations. And some of these names, I'm sure a lot of you guys know, CVS, Dollar General, Home Depot, and Lowe's. They're affected every day, and they need this kind of solution. And so what our position in the market, so our 5 things that kind of set us apart, we're going to be multi-domain coverage across these 3 different verticals. We're going to be network effects, leveraging that. We're going to have government and law enforcement and integration. We're going to be using AI and data analytics, along with having a plug-and-play approach. So kind of what does the next 18 months look like as we develop ourselves? So we're going to do a 2-pronged strategy to get LOIs and beta commitments. We're going to be working to develop and launch our MVP, after which we're going to assess our KPIs and measure our value add to our customer, and along with expanding and capture across the US and hopefully globally. And so kind of our long-term vision, we really do want to become universal adoption. We want to expand beyond our current 3 solutions that we're looking at. And then also we want to become this security, global standard for how things should look like. And so kind of finally closes off for our team. So there's myself, Jacob Weber, I'm the CEO and co-founder. And I have Yoshi here, who's our CTO. Along with our advisors who are not present, we have Chip Walter, who's got expertise in venture capital, ex-CIA, ex-Northrop Grumman. And then we have Luke Elberfeld, who is currently a Secret Service agent that is dealing with this problem every day and seeing from the customer standpoint. So we at CounterSafe, we're here to be the modern loss prevention platform to detect, determine, and deter. Thank you.
Tell me, outline briefly what your first go-to-market strategy is. Who's first?
Our first goal is obviously we're going top down, bottom up. So right now, I'm currently located in Nashville. So we're getting connected with Dollar General and Tractor Supply locally to talk to their corporate level to see exactly how we can integrate and what really product interests us the most. So our first goal is to really get DocuSafe in the hands of each of their stores and kind of coming through that massive adoption across a global scale. But also, since we are a platform play, we're also able to go to individual stores within the region. And so one of the things I was learning talking to Walmart, individual stores, when these thefts happen, especially counterfeit currency or these scams, the stores actually lose out on their bonuses at the end of the year. So they're actually, employees are incentivized to catch these criminals because they really want the money at the end of the year. And so a thing in Kansas City happened recently over about $200,000 across like 3 different stores. All 3 stores lost out on their bonuses at the end of the year. And so that's a big thing for us. That's why we're able to go from bottom up to retail and then also top down.
Wondering if you guys could give me a real specific, right? I'm in retail, so I understand the importance of reducing shrinkage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But can you give me a clear example? And let's use Walmart as an example.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to, if I'm a Walmart store manager, how are you actually going to help me reduce shrinkage?
Okay, so it's the 3 different solutions that we have. So I'll go through each one. So DocuSafe, it's also going to, at a manager level, it's going to make sure your employees also aren't frauding you through invoice fraud and taking stuff like a quantity, like, hey, we have 4 on this books, but technically we only sold 3, and the employee takes 1. You're able to see these paper trail through the one thing. Currency Safe itself, at the check, at the cash out, they're able to analyze right now, giving a digital solution instead of just like eyeing it through there, using the pen on site. Like you're able to see exactly without accepting that, that $100, $20 bill. And then Market Safe itself can analyze video after at the end of the day to kind of give you understand like, hey, like there's these theft instances that you miss. Actually, your employees are stealing from you on this kind of area. And then also you at Walmart and Home Depot, for example, if I'm stealing from Walmart and I'm a criminal, I'm not just stealing from Walmart. I'm going to steal from Target. I'm stealing all these areas. So having this ecosystem that we're creating allows them to talk. So after talking to Walmart's loss prevention, they also have Sam's Club underneath them. Sam's Club, when they get hit 10 times harder than Walmart because think about it, there's only 1 Sam's Club per city. how many Walmarts do you see? Like 10 to 20, and they're able to communicate and kind of let each other know and talk about these things and also catch criminals so much faster. And so that's kind of where that's how we integrate, and that's like software solution. You don't need to buy hardware, just subscribe to us. You can also then manage your employees underneath you, and even their personal phones can use it.
So then quickly, there's no hardware involved. You just talked about counterfeit currency in, some of your slides, and we talk about at the employee level at checkout.
Yeah.
They're looking at a $20 bill, or they're hitting it with a marker or whatever they're doing. You're describing something that would require a piece of hardware for them to truly identify, is this counterfeit or is it not?
And in technicality, yes. However, the thing is Walmart itself, you see all the managers have the phone with them, have the piece on them already that they're able to find currency to. Everyone in this room has a phone with them. How we're doing the approach, where it's just like, hey, you're a cashier, smartphone, tablet, whatever works for you.
Might be a funny question, but what is your product? Is it an app? Is it, how are you using AI to make it different than the other methods that have been used in the past?
Okay. So for us, like, yes, it's going to be app on your phone for like scanning things physically, because obviously your computer can do it, but we are going to be an online platform and service that like your images are going to go through us. We're going to analyze it from there and go from there. And it's kind of be like, we're this cloud platform that things will go through. And so like you can also get online on the computer, go through your, the website and do other things that we need. But like it's going to be pairing both things, app and online.
I don't know where you are with your actual product development, and you've referenced Walmart a few times. Do you have any customers that have actually used any beta version of the product at all? So you have some really.
No, we're still in MVP phase. So we've partnered with it's a firm in Nashville. They've developed 3 unicorns recently for their software development, and we're going to be working with them. So right now we're at the stage that we're raising capital, and then we're also going to be going out and to get LOIs and to get early adopters. So that's kind of where we just kind of go through. But we have a firm right now on the ground that has expertise in truly developing software. So then him and I are going to be able to execute, and then also he's going to be able to use his expertise to really hone in on that, and so we can actually start moving.
Thank you, CounterSafe. We appreciate it so much. Great job. Next up, we have Glory EV. Okaris Morandu from Auburn, Alabama, will be presenting his venture.
What if I told you that the EV market is booming, but the EV charging infrastructure in America is still lagging behind? According to the Department of Energy, we'll need 28 million ports for EV charging by 2030. This is extremely frustrating, and hotels and property owners are losing visibility from online travel agencies like Booking.com and EV travel apps. So they're losing traffic, meaning that they're losing revenue from a growing market. So how do you solve this problem? With Glory EV Charging's Charging as a Service solution, an end-to-end platform that empowers businesses to be able to have EV charging amenities, thereby enabling and empowering EV drivers to be able to have an EV charger at their destination. Some of the items in our scope of work includes software commissioning, hardware procurement, site design and engineering, installation, and maintenance. Our value proposition is simple. We unlock a new revenue stream for property owners and businesses, and we also clear out any headaches to be able to add in EV charging infrastructure for their properties. Now, the gap in the EV charging infrastructure space is massive, with over $2 trillion. And with over 80,000 hotels in the nation, we have a valuation of over $1.9 billion in our serviceable available market. In fact, in the Southeast, or rather in the country, we have over 70% of hotels that don't offer EV charging amenities. And we're currently operating out of the Southeast, which is very unsaturated for our industry. Now, we provide our clients with 2 different options in our business model. We have host-owned, where they can acquire the hardware assets upfront, and with charging as a service, as I explained, where they can pretty much lease the hardware, and we can commission the software to those units. So essentially here, this is a very conservative financial. With 1 EV charger can generate over $4,800 annually, and with 100, nearly $500,000 And we have the 80-20 revenue share split between charging sessions with the property owner. Now, in the next 18 months, where are we headed? So we have 3 goals. We want to grow our pipeline and close deals. We want to grow to over 400 chargers, either on paper or in the ground installed and functioning. And we want to raise Series A capital. We're currently working with 3 companies. 2 of them are hotel groups based out of the Southeast. And one of them is a global logistics company, Unipart Group, who wants 6 of their sites in the United States to have access to EV charging to support their fleet. So there's a number of different charge point operators or CPOs out there, but the main thing that differentiates us is that we have a cash flow friendly model for businesses and property owners to be able to have this infrastructure. And we have what's called a hardware agnostic approach, meaning our software can pretty much connect with any type of open network charger that's out there. And we have a vertical focus in the hotel market currently. So venture capital firms like Rise Capital have asked me, who's on your team, Olcaris? Well, I basically tell them this. The answer is simple. Our team combines talented young professionals along with seasoned entrepreneurs and executives. And recently, we are just added an advisor who just recently got acquired just last year by a public company leaving the EV charging space. So we're currently asking for $12,000. And that's going to be used for investing in AI tools and AI agents, high converting sales channels, give us some operating capital for future projects, and to invest in our charging as a service platform. So our business model is simple, it's scalable, and it's profitable. And we're inviting all of you today to be a part of our journey. So, Tigers, are you ready for the future? Because the future is electric. Thank you.
Can you speak to a little bit more on, there's no question there's a market opportunity here. I guess 2 questions. One, you're choosing the Southeast
Yes.
versus other parts of the U.S. that are more highly penetrated with users,
Mhm.
including global users, especially given your focus on hotels. But can you kind of speak a little bit more as well? There's a need for this. What I'm scratching my head over is why others have not already moved on this, and what do you think? You shared the hardware piece of it, but what do you see as something new and different that you're going to bring to the table?
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of pivoted. I'll just explain this real quick. We pivoted a couple times, and what we were trying to do is just sell hardware up front. We'll be a reseller essentially, right? But then there was like, there's no money in that just reoccurring. It's not predictable. So we can't necessarily scale as fast as we want to, right? But it's great for credibility. Like we've been able to partner with Tesla and Zeal and EV charging companies. Some of these companies are kind of already doing that or pivoting to it. Like Tesla's allowing other companies to white label their product. For a long time they didn't. Now it's coming on the up and up. But for these bigger companies, they've established themselves. Like for example, we're partnered with City Electric Supply, and manufacturers for level 2 charging, anything from 32 to 80 amps, they use distributors to resell their products. And so the people who are using their chargers, they're just mainly just trying to, resell the product or install it or whatever. For networks that are out there, they're clearly just focused on like their own network, closed network, if you will. So that's kind of how their business model has been. It's not multi hardware. Yeah, if that answers your question.
What's your break even, and how many of those 400 do you need to do to
Yeah.
break even? Subset of that is how much R&D money do you need for the software development?
The funny thing is that there's not necessarily a break even because we would be financing the hardware, right? The project. So, and for example, if we were just selling up the host owned option and just upselling or reselling it, that would take, depending on, let's say a level 2 charger, that would take around 36 months, right? Whereas if we're just financing it, then we can be profitable from day one as long as we put in our margins and mark up everything and make sure we can be profitable and grow from there, if that makes sense. So we're working with Patriot Capital. They're biggest lender in the United States in terms of equipment and hardware. And your next question is how much we need in terms of investing into software. So I would say right now, currently, it's looking like, especially with AI, like I've been able to use ChatGPT and Gemini to be able to just create a user interface. It's very, very cool. And with that, I don't think it will take past 3 or 4 months and not even past maybe 50 to 100K, maybe in less than that, just for a proprietary software that can get us functioning and to use that. But currently, we'll just be licensing a software that we can just $5 per port and do it that way. Yeah.
If I'm the end user, I'm your customer, right?
Yes.
What kind of utilization do I need out of a charger to start hitting the ARRs you're talking about here?
So are you saying as an EV driver or as a property owner?
Sorry, as the property owner.
Okay.
So if I own a hotel,
Yeah.
whatever, right? I've got an overnight guest. I could leave the thing in it all night.
Mhm.
That's not really good for my business.
Yeah.
What kind of utilization do I need from the charger to be able to have it be a worthwhile investment?
Yes, that's a great question. So essentially what I've done, and with some of the prospects that we have and businesses that I've talked with, I made an Excel sheet to show them all the costs that go into utilities and hardware, procurement, all that stuff. And it goes from around 15% utilization to 100%. And it tells you, how much money you're going to make per charge and everything like that. So honestly, at a minimum, 3 charging sessions a day could be from the same person or 2 different people. That will be something that you'll be looking at. And what we do, we don't just go in blind and say, okay, let's put 30 chargers here and hope that someone comes. We do an analysis. We use a cool tool called EVPen. I met the founder. He's based out of New York, and he gives us all the census data, traffic, and everything like that. So we know, okay, in this area, this is the best spot for you to have EV charging for this property.
Have you done an analysis across the United States on where your best return on capital will be?
Return on capital for the EV charging market? Yeah, so I would say that the saturated spaces right now are in the West Coast. So that's really, really saturated. I know we just ran out of time, but the Southeast, very unsaturated. That's where we want to make our mark. And the properties that I've kind of explained, that the companies that we're working with, we're looking at a combined portfolio of over 100 properties, right? And Omega Hospitality out of Huntsville, Alabama, they're wanting to test it out at their Hampton Inn, right? So we're gonna test it out over there, but we're doing step by step, doing a site analysis, giving them all the details and everything like that, send them scope of work so they understand how it's all gonna work and function. So I would say the Southeast is probably under the U. It's been explained to me this way by people in the industry. See that U there? That goes kind of underneath the United States, U for United States. That's where that traffic and that opportunity is, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Okaris Morandu. Glory EV.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff Weber, a combat veteran and retired U.S. intelligence officer. In 2022, I founded Heirloom to protect what matters most. And that's not national secrets. It's the stories of our lives. Joyuno is our app to bring them into one joyful home and keep them safe for generations. The problem is that companies like Kodak, if you remember that, and Facebook built empires using our memories, but never cared to store our stories. Now, photos and videos, they're scattered and drifting across platforms that trade privacy for profit. We're disconnected from what matters, who we are, and the people we love. The solution is Joyuno, bringing every memory, past, present, and future together in one trusted home. Built on the same secure infrastructure used by the CIA, it's where technology finally serves you and your privacy is fully protected. For the first time, you can feel safe sharing life's most meaningful moments, like even the birth of your child. Joyuno rescues every memory, from the tapes in your attic to the forgotten moments buried in social media accounts. God bless my wife here. This is our first baby, lovingly cradled by my mother, who passed away far too soon. Joyuno's private AI finds anything fast, recognizing faces, places, and voices, like my brother-in-law's birthday party here in the 1970s. Trusted sharing is easy and safe, bringing friends and family together again, rebuilding life's moments into new stories without giving your data to big tech. Joyuno gives people a joyful way to start their day, replacing doom scrolling with connection on a home screen widget. Preliminary Clemson research shows a 71% reduction in stress after use. Thank you, Kerf. And our firewalled AI keeps every interaction private, creating a sustainable moat big tech can't copy. Heirloom showed us something very powerful. It's not just that customers are paying us hundreds of dollars per order to preserve their memories, but they desperately want to share them safely. We're transforming that traction into Joyuno, the subscription platform where those same stories, they live, they grow, and they're passed on forever. I waited decades for technology that never caught up, even keeping an ancestry account, hoping to maybe one day see a little bit more than a family tree of old photos. Their acquisition earlier this year of my digitizing competitor, iMemories, validated the storytelling demand. But Joyuno expands that reach to all networks, including friends, classmates, and even guests at weddings and funerals. Our bottom-up SOM scales globally through local digitizing affiliates without the bottleneck of a single facility. Joyuno grows virally through genuine connection. Every time a user shares a memory, it creates a new freemium account spreading joy, not ads. As billions of moments are captured each day, Joyuno becomes the trusted home the world's been waiting for when you or your kids, you exceed the storage on your phone. Joyuno starts from strength. Thousands of Heirloom customers, each now with dozens of hours of unique video already preserved on our MVP. Each share brings new users, steady upgrades, and lasting retention. Our growth is not transactional like cloud storage. It's relational, built on the simple truth that people don't churn from their storytelling. I've led high-stakes teams where precision and trust were non-negotiable. Sherry drives brand growth, and Jeremy has shipped products at scale. Our fulfillment team, including autistic talent, delivers meticulous quality from the Harbor Entrepreneur Center in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. That proven playbook becomes the model for global affiliates and Joyuno's next stage of growth. Let's make every story safely shareable. Join our 500K pre-seed round to fund Joyuno's launch, scale globally, and share the wins of a high ROI. We've all lost moments we wish we could relive. The sound of my grandparents' voices, the laughter of our children goofing around, the stories that made us who we are. I refuse to live in a world without joy. If you feel the same, join me. It's time to bring every memory safely home. Thanks.
Well done. How do you envision scaling your product?
In phases. So this is not happening overnight. We currently have over 2,500 users on our MVP. Launching the apps to build iOS, Android, and on. Our goal is to get to 500,000 paid subscribers within the next 18 months before we then raise a seed and say, okay, look what we've done with that. Now we go to the next level. That global level is through local digitizing facilities around the world. What we have learned at Heirloom is people love dealing locally. And so we do have people who drive from Greenville all the way down to Charleston to digitize their memories. That shouldn't have to happen once we have these affiliates across the world using our licensed technology.
Why should we believe that iCloud or Amazon, with their teams of 10 trillion engineers each, are not just going to do this tomorrow?
I refuse to put pictures of my daughter on iCloud or Google Photos. And I have 4 letters, CSAM. Child sexual assault material. It's too long for me to get into that. I don't want a picture of my daughter to be compromised where AI is going to undress her and then kids around the schoolyard are like, hey, look at this. So I'm just saying, as a security professional for decades, unsafe. It is. That's why people are on Signal. That's why people go to DuckDuckGo. Our data is showing that.
So I have a couple questions. So differentiate between something like Memory Box, which has been around for a while. Hallmark has been down this path for a long time, creating memories. You know, a lot of send in your photos, digitize, send in your 8mm slides, digitize. I'm also working with a young lady here at the Launchpad on a very similar product, but using blockchain technology to truly secure your photos and your memories such that it cannot be manipulated by AI or any other deep fakes that are out there on the internet today. It's a young lady you probably want to meet before you leave here today. But so I get the primary question is, you know, how has someone like Memory Box done over the years? How is someone like Hallmark, if you have thought about these competitors, because I'm sure they're still out there doing similar things, maybe in a little different fashion?
The largest competitor in the digitizing space is a company called Legacy Box, advertised on national television and so forth. They're in the business of selling expensive cardboard boxes, not really digitizing memories. When they do, they return a DVD, maybe a flash drive. That's not what we want. We want customers for life, pure LTV. You're paying me every year to keep those memories safe. That was one question. So you asked about Memory Box, Legacy Box. I'm not revealing anything on classified here, but at CIA, we have the inability to take a screen capture. That technology, the code is unclassified. It's on Joyuno.
What's the relationship between Heirloom, who I thought was a presentation?
Thank you. Heirloom Cloud Corporation, corporation here in South Carolina for the last 3 years, member of SCRA. It's a digitizing company. What we found was, yes, people love digitizing, it's wonderful, but I want to share it. And so the Joyuno is our app.
I have to confess, I'm still struggling with your revenue model. I understand you want to get users on board. Maybe you can profile even the 2,500 users that you currently have today and how that revenue is being generated.
Okay, the revenue will surpass 400K this calendar year. That's digitizing revenue. We aren't charging people for a cloud subscription. That will be Joyuno. That average subscription will be roughly $40 per year, depending on how much content you have. Our goal is to get to 500,000 users in 18 months. That would be a $2 million revenue stream just from subscription service.
2,500 users has generated 400K. Is that what I heard?
The 2,500 users have generated 400K in digitizing revenue. We haven't charged them for their subscription. I'm serious. We have a persona for you. It's called Manager Mike. I'm going to say 45 to 64 kids. Yep. You've got old content. I want it all in one safe place.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, judges. And Jeff is from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Up next, we have Jeffrey Goff. He is from Aner, South Carolina, and his venture is Nature Athletics.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jeff Goff. I'm the founder of Nature Athletics. I'm a father to 2 young children. I am a Marine Corps officer. I'm a Babson MBA grad, and I am a movement expert with over 15 years of barefoot running experience. What I did was I have a firm foundation in faith to know that God made our feet on purpose, with purpose, and I took science-based fact-finding to create the greatest shoe ever made for natural human movement on the field, Nature Athletics cleats. The human foot is a miracle of engineering. It has 29 muscles, 33 joints, 26 bones, and 200,000 nerve endings per foot, holding up 3 miraculous God-designed arches. Those arches are meant to be held up by the 4 layers of muscles of your foot. God didn't put those there for funsies, all right? So that is the main purpose of your foot, is to be utilized in natural movement. Shoes, or foot replacement devices, as I like to call them, replace natural movement and ingrain unnatural movement of heel strike running in deformed form factor that makes it so that non-contact injuries are much more likely to happen. ACL tears are a choice. Ankle sprains are a choice. Shin splints and plantar fasciitis are a choice based off of bad movement patterns in deforming footwear. Nature Athletics makes shoes that honor God's design and move through natural force paths. You are supposed to move in rotational movement. Your rotation goes from out to in on the lateral arch to the medial arch with strong leverage that makes it so that you do not break when you do a change of direction. God didn't play a joke on us. He didn't make it so that every single time that we change directions, we're going to shred our ACL or sprain our ankle, all right? So we have our patented cleat plate technology that makes it so that you do not feel the studs, because this is harder, but everything else is flexible. This is a utility patent that makes it so that the 33 joints of the foot move through their natural range of motion, building the muscles of the 4 layers of muscles of the foot, holding up those 3 arches. We also have a patent pending stud design right here, which is our new innovation that allows for natural rotational movement to go from the outside to the inside and makes so that you don't get stuck in. And in addition to that, it is fully zero drop that allows to bias for 4-foot striking, which is natural, which is what God designed us to do, so that we can take the impact on our muscles, not in our joints and our bones. We have proven results. We are a direct-to-consumer company. We have sold out of our first 2 runs of adult shoes, and we sold out of our first run of children's shoes. We have athletic partners that are performing at an extremely high level that utilize these shoes every single day to compete and win. We also have an amazing opportunity with the United States Marine Corps. They want to get a boot from me. I've been working on this since 2018. I have clearance from commanding generals and colonels and doctors that are in charge of making this decision, and they want a boot from me in order to make it so that we reduce non-contact injuries to service members, increase combat readiness, and take away post-service quality of life issues. How did we win? In the first year, we sold $90,000 worth of cleats. Second year, $119,000 worth of cleats. That's profitable. And then in the third year, we're going to be $232,000. We have amazing partners that set the example in these every single day. That's a starting quarterback for an NCAA team that's 6-1 right now. He has 400 yards on the ground in addition to 1,400 yards in the air. We also have pro soccer players. We have ex-NFL players that swear by these. And the best natural movement coaches in the world swear by our shoes. We have an amazing team. There's myself. We also have our head footwear designer, Christine Pham. She's been in footwear for over a decade, and she can make it so that we can go from a factory into reality easily. We also have John Carabino. He's been a natural movement coach for over a decade and coaches kids all the way up to pros. Our ask is that we want $1 million for 5% equity stake in our company in order to increase our flow so that we never sell out again, increase our R&D so that we can create better shoes in different other sports. Also, we need to diversify our supply chain and then put the rest into marketing. Thank you so much. These are testimonies from real athletes competing at the highest level that love our cleats.
Can you share a little bit more on your economics? You talked about your revenue amounts in year 1, year 2, in correlation with the number of units sold and what margins are.
For our adult shoes, it's 71%, and for our children's shoes, it's around about 54% margin, direct to consumer.
Quick follow-on question. Have you considered a wholesale approach as well, and/or working with other, obviously, crowded shoe markets out there where you've got a patented, once you get the patented design, to look at that as a go-to-market model as well?
Well, this is fully utility patented. This cleat plate system, fully utility patented. It's just the studs. We're getting a new design patent on it, but I mean, I already have the design patented. So in addition to wholesale, I'd love to go there. It's a little bit sticky because their main people that like fund their businesses, if they look at my shoes and they put our shoes in the aisles next to like a Nike shoe, well, they're going to choose my shoe because it's more comfortable and honors God's design. It also exposes the lie of what Nike's doing, and Nike's going to be really upset with them. And then when they're in the Super Bowl suite talking to them, they're going to be like, hey, you got to get that shoe out of your store right now.
Last question, Ura. And a runner for over 50 years. Do you have a flat bottom version of this, or is it just the cleats? Did I miss something in the presentation?
I do not have a flat bottom version of it right now, but I do have a children's sneaker that I have fully developed and I can deploy if you give me money. I had my son wear them for last school year. It's called the Raven, and he loved them. I have testers' moms that want to wear them, and they love them as well.
Your primary market is an athletic cleat like this, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'm the only one. I'm the guy.
So how big is this market?
It is 42 million children play sports every single year in America. 25 million of them play field sports. So we can do anything on grass: football, baseball, softball, rugby, competitive shooting. Believe it or not, I have competitive shooters that run from like obstacle to obstacle, take a knee, and then send rounds downrange. If it's on grass, we got it.
Okay, so just, and then I'll pass the mic on to Scott, but so that's at the kid level.
Kid and
What-
adult.
what-
So we got
What
pros.
what about collegiate level, pro level?
Yes.
How big is this market in terms of cleats?
Specifically, I do not know how many like collegiate players there are off the top of my head, but I know that every single one of them needs to wear our cleats, especially female soccer players. Women soccer players are 8 times more likely to tear their ACL. There are 200,000 ACL tears in America every single year. 70% of them are non-contact injuries. Those are a choice. Those are a choice. But when you learn of what we got going on here, you're never going to go back.
You're awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Your valuation expectation is insane. But this is
Debatable.
My question is, look, when you're dealing with the footwear industry, I'm very close with the guys that started on.
Yep.
You have to shoot for $1 billion business, or you're not going to survive in the market.
Yeah.
How do you think about the value of you as a shoe manufacturer and shoe retailer versus somebody that owns technology? If you can prove this reduces injury, this is a $10 billion business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think about the difference? Like, why are you selling shoes instead of doing that? Curious.
I sell shoes because I'm passionate. I'm a dad. And when I was creating these shoes initially, I was saying, okay, I am going to raise my children to have their feet wide and strong the way God intended, right? There are no options on the market right now for them to play play their favorite sport and maintain that natural gift that God gave them. Everything else deforms them. It's a foot replacement device that makes it so that they will get injured, okay? That is important. They will get injured if they are entered into the foot replacement system.
Just a follow-up. I mean, I'll use the football helmet industry as an allegory, right?
Yeah.
When head injuries became first and foremost, it went from a 2-brand Riddell and Air market to 15 brands.
Yeah.
Right. So, but education is going to eat your margins. So how do you think about, like, you mentioned those Nike shoes in the store. Why aren't Nike shoes, why aren't you just selling this to Nike?
Well, because they'd kill it. They would murder it because it would expose the gigantic lie that they have going on. They are the cause of all the non-contact injuries in the world. It's nuts. Because they deform people, they make it so that they don't have leverage when they need to they need to counter internal rotation of the tibia. I could do a 2-hour lecture on this, by the way. It's nuts. The amount of negligence that they have.
If you achieve some of the levels of success that you're touting, where are you going to manufacture? How are you going to manufacture?
I make them in China right now, but I'd love to diversify from other places. So that's the big thing that I need to do is I need to have money in order to diversify so that I'm not hit by the whims of the tariff monster.
Thank you, Jeffrey, with Nature Athletics. Up next, we have Phase 3 Therapy, Tyler Rankin and Ethan Kessler. They are from Bun Level, North Carolina. Bun Level, North Carolina.
Good afternoon. I'm Tyler Rankin, the founder of Phase 3 Therapy, and this is our lead engineer, Ethan Kessler. Together, we've built a company with one purpose in mind, so others may live. And our flagship product, the Functional Injury Treatment Kit, or FIT Kit, is reimagining rehabilitation for hand therapy professionals.
Across the U.S., nearly half of the 425,000 therapists report burnout. Insurance reimburses only about 60 to 70% of clinical overhead. To compensate, clinics often double or triple patient loads, leaving therapists overworked and under-resourced. And when we look closer, one area stood out: the hands. Nearly 1 in 3 of the 8.6 million occupational injuries annually involve the hands. Yet the tools available to treat these injuries are outdated, bulky, and expensive, often totaling over $1,500 when purchased individually. So we created something smarter: a simpler, affordable system that gives therapists more capability without the clutter. And it's already proven itself in the real world. The Fit Kit is modular, comprehensive, portable, and most importantly, affordable. Therapists can swap between specialized trays for hand, wrist, or elbow function, all within one box. This cuts clutter, cost and setup time while improving patient outcomes. And it's already proven itself in the real world. Our kits have been used to treat hundreds of patients, and therapists tell us it's not just another tool. It's a system that finally makes therapy efficient.
Our mission is to restore independence and purpose through better tools and smarter therapy. Every part of the Fit Kit was designed to help therapists help others faster, easier, and more effectively. And that mission aligns itself with a market that's both huge and hungry for innovation. The global therapy equipment market tops $80 billion, with $4 billion dedicated to hand therapy alone. We're targeting a $25 to $50 million segment here in the Southeast before scaling nationally. To reach these customers, we've built a clear relationship-driven strategy. We're connecting directly with early adopters through conferences, university partnerships, and hands-on demos. Our lead buyers are clinic owners, managers, and program directors. These are the decision makers that actually purchase equipment for their clinics, and this approach is paying off. We've partnered with Benchmark Physical Therapy and Physical Therapy and Balance Centers in North Carolina. While we're beta testing with select clinics, these groups have hundreds of locations nationwide, giving us a strong foundation for future growth. Our collaborations with both Methodist and Campbell universities also add academic validation and give us direct access to our future customers, the next generation of therapists. These relationships give us real-world data and feedback that shape our next steps. We've met every goal we set so far this year, and the path forward is clear. Using the data gathered from active clinics, we're prepared to file for utility patent by the end of this year. That will set us up for the FDA approval process in 2026 and lead us to our future goals of scaled manufacturing and a commercial launch in 2027. And as we scale, the numbers only get stronger. Here's where things get exciting. Our first prototypes cost over $600 to produce. Through continued refinement, we're on track to bring production costs down to under $100 per kit. Retailing around $750, that's a margin north of 80%, while still saving clinics nearly half of what they'd spend piecing together comparable equipment on their own. That financial efficiency, paired with the right funding, will let us scale quickly and make an even greater impact.
Funding from this competition will accelerate everything ahead, completing our beta launch, filing a utility patent, collecting data for FDA approval, and gearing up for scaled manufacturing. Clemson's support will take us from small batch production to national impact. And behind that plan is a team built to execute.
We're a team of clinicians and engineers with firsthand experience in both patient care and fabrication. We're also backed by mentors in business, engineering, and therapy who've helped refine our product and strategy for scalable impact. Together, we're ready to take the next steps. Thank you for your time. We're Phase 3 Therapy, and with your support, we'll be reimagining rehabilitation so others may live.
Do you have a handle on your acquisition costs per, therapy clinic?
Acquisition costs, really right now, not a whole lot. Like this is my wife right here, and the rest of our team are occupational therapists. And so we go to market at either clinics or she goes to continuing education courses. And so really right now they're very low. If we were to scale up and stuff like that and go into marketing, it'd probably be around $20,000 to $50,000 or so. Per clinic though, is that what you're asking, sir? Per clinic, it'd probably be, $100, $200 maybe.
Great presentation, by the way. I think you said that it's at $750. You're about 50% of the price of what it would take to cobble together a kit like this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
How many kits per office? Like, would they typically, or like, what would be the investment in this kind of thing? Are these clinics already spending this kind of money, and you're just going to divert it into an all-in-one kind of kit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, primarily. It just depends. So if it's a smaller clinic, they might only need one kit. If it's a university with an occupational or physical therapy program, they might need, 5, 10, 15 kits.
So when you hit everybody, where does it go from there? I mean, it's a $25 to $50 million business that you said, which is great until you're sitting at 18 million and saying, how do I grow? Mm-hmm. So like, what are you guys thinking? Like, how does this go from a product to a company?
Yeah, so that's primarily that 25 to 50 million is in the Southeast. So clinics, university programs, things of that nature. So when we grow and scale, I mean, all of us have hands. So worldwide, going to national and then going to a world market.
To go back to what Scott said, so originally I saw on a slide it was a $80 billion overall market, or was it a $4 billion hand therapy market?
Both. So it's an $80 billion, global therapy equipment market.
All right, so have you approached folks like ATI Therapy and some of these chain therapy organizations, of course, because they have geographic reach and some of them national reach? Have you talked with any of those folks yet?
No, not yet. We're primarily doing our beta testing and everything because we don't have our utility patent or IP quite yet. That's kind of our next steps, like either after this competition or, right after all that beta testing by the end of the year.
Two questions. So you have no sales per se.
We do have some sales. Yes, we do. We were very fortunate. Some people wanted to purchase our prototypes, the ones that we're working with in beta testing. We were very fortunate to have them be able to purchase our equipment.
Okay, maybe I missed it. What's your ask? What are you looking for?
Yeah, in order to make 2,000 kits or so, we're asking relatively $250,000 to $300,000 for 2,000 kits. That includes our manufacturing costs, that includes our marketing costs, and that includes the cost of the 2,000 kits themselves.
I think you've touched upon this with your FDA approval piece, but it seems like a big part of your value proposition, and therefore proving out your economics is the wear and tear on the actual PT individuals. And growing demand, obviously, for the PT. Is there anything that you're working on to document that, or even put some numbers behind it to just really strengthen your story?
So some of our next steps, this is obviously our 4th version, and we plan on going to an electronics minimal viable product where that will collect data from the actual therapy session and then log it into software. But that is way in the future. We're trying to start getting off the ground. As we said, we have our timeline here. And so we're following step by step, not trying to go too fast, but it is in the works.
So we're in our 4th iteration of this kit, correct? So as I think about this kit, is anything consumable where I can get a recurring revenue like, hey, the widgets have worn out and I need to replace you every single year with new whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, on the outside, there's Velcro, and Velcro wears out. So having actual just slides where you can just purchase Velcro easily, but also really the recurring revenue comes later in our kits, because then we have an app that ties into the system. And so that can be shared through the patients and the therapist. It collects all the data. So how long it took you to do reps, and so that is where the recurring revenue would really be generated.
Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Tyler and Ethan. Phase 3 therapy. Next up, from Greenville, South Carolina, we have Mark Lyons and Eric Couch with Precision Anatomy.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present our business venture to you today. I'm Mark Lyons, and this is my business partner, Eric Crouch. We are the founders of Precision Anatomy. Eric's background as a U.S. Army Special Operations medic has provided him with a vast amount of experience and expertise in emergency combat medicine. My background is U.S. Marine Corps logistics. Together, our skill sets solidly complement one another to form a unique business enterprise. In 2019, Eric and I were recruited by North American Rescue to direct and manage their national medical training programs. Eric immediately introduced the concept of human anatomical specimens as a medical training modality, which we implemented and developed over the next 4 years. Early in 2024, NAR made the decision to discontinue these course offerings, prompting Eric and I to begin our own training company that February. Based out of Greenville, South Carolina, we use donated anatomical specimens, that is, human cadavers, as the primary teaching tool to facilitate medical procedural training. Medical providers receive hands-on instruction and practice invasive, life-saving procedures on real human anatomy in a safe and controlled environment. This is what sets us apart from other medical training programs throughout the country. The organizations depicted on the slide are current or past clients, and all pictures in this presentation consist of our training programs in action. Surgical skills and interventions are practiced on real, lifelike tissue so that mistakes can be learned from in the lab, not on a live patient. This focus is the key factor in saving lives and increasing positive patient outcomes. Our services are customizable and turnkey. We conduct training on or off-site and are currently providing single courses and ongoing contracts. Compared to industry standard specimen labs, our clients get more time and practical application of their skills. We work with our clients throughout the entire planning and execution process, providing flexibility, a trait that sets us apart. During our courses, we also utilize metrics to compile analytical data. No need to absorb all the information on this slide. It is merely a compilation example from one of our past labs. We are recording pre- and post-lab measurements of our clients' skill levels for future publishing, thus establishing a tangible and a measurable training ROI that proves the incredible value of our realistic training model. Precision Anatomy's average single-day mobile lab is invoiced at $18,000. This amount is influenced by our cost of goods and services in conjunction with market and value-based costs. We currently rely on expensive third-party willed body donor programs to source our specimens. This is a unique market space due to the sensitive nature of our training modality. However, tissue use is necessary to accomplish high-quality medical training. Our projected gross revenue for 2025 is $305,000. Tissue procurement expenses make up 85% of our overall cost of services and represent 52% of our overall gross revenue. To address this challenge, we have recently established a nonprofit. The Life for Others Foundation provides a willed body program as a means for cost-free body donation post-death, providing an alternative to expensive funeral services. This is a much-needed option for families that lack financial resources to pay for traditional funeral expenses. Utilizing our own donor program will reduce our procurement costs by at least 40%, thus increasing our internal rate of return and decreasing client costs. We are also building the Anatomical Standards and Accreditation Association, an ethical oversight board that is seeking to provide universal guidelines and standards in the use of human tissue in medical training. We're already working with the Army's Office of Human and Animal Research Oversight to assist in the ongoing development of training protocols within the DoD. We recently secured loan funds to facilitate the purchase of a custom-built mobile lab facility that we're utilizing to support training courses. It is our intent to leverage these resources over the next 2 to 3 years to grow our training programs and increase revenue for further reinvestment and future expansion. In approximately 36 to 48 months, we plan to purchase or build our own local headquarters and training facility. As budgeting permits, we will begin moving into phase 4 of our business plan. We envision obtaining necessary funding via capital accrued from profits and venture capital investments from organizations like the Blake family that recognize the value we are delivering to our community medical providers. After 5+ years direct experience in the business, we're ready to grow. Though our company is only 20 months old, we have proven the viability of our business model with over $400,000 in sales to date. We have become a shaping force in the military medical community with a reputation of quality, consistency, and reliability. Our track record consists of positive outcomes and a growing client base. Our scalable and repeatable business model is actively improving. Any funds that we receive will go towards increasing visibility of the Life for Others Foundation to expedite these goals. We would be honored if you joined us as an investment partner.
Can you share a bit more on the customers you're going after, how you're reaching into them? And I saw some of your other growth projections, but I'm still not sure I quite understand the market size here.
Okay, the training market size is pretty much all of medical training across the country, which the DoD puts a lot of money into. We were looking at billions of dollars annually between the DoD and, of course, private hospital systems. Right now, about half of our customers are DoD customers, a lot of U.S. Army. We have done labs for the Navy, we have done labs for the Air Force, and we are currently have a few U.S. Army customers as well, but it's about split.
Yeah, and just to add on that, academic centers, we got expanding work with Emory University, UNC Chapel Hill, their med school, and their long enduring partnership with the military as far as the surgical and medical providers.
Any relationship with the funeral homes to promote your foundation?
Yes, sir, absolutely. That's actually one of the primary organizations that we try to partner with, local community funeral homes, because that is where the families are coming in, and it's often quite a sticker shock to see how much a funeral costs, and this provides an alternative way not only to avoid the cost of a traditional funeral, but also to contribute toward science and medical research.
And so just remind me, currently getting a cadaver represents 80% of your cost of goods sold, right?
Cost over 80% of our cost of services currently, yes.
And if we can adjust this model to find other suppliers,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
that could potentially reduce it to, what did you say?
It'll reduce it by 40% at least.
By 40% at least?
Yes, to take donors into our own program instead of going to third-party programs, we can reduce those costs by 40%. And when I say cost, no one is buying and selling tissue, but it takes money, obviously, to do the processing and intake.
Just to add on to that, as far as the decrease in cost, donors coming into our program, I've worked extensively with some of the top embalmers and anatomical preservation specialists in the country. Just a single donor that we have already coming through our donor program, Life for Others, we've already been able to maintain that donor for a significant longer period of time.
So help me understand where anybody that has access to cadavers could not just replicate the service. Like, why you guys?
I would say it is very replicable. In fact, part of our, as I stated, we want to scale this up, and let me put it this way. It looks easy. It's not. It's incredibly logistically and resource intensive. And I would say we have a unique combination business partnership with his background and my background that makes this whole thing possible. There are maybe a half a dozen other companies across the country that are doing something similar, but there are no other companies that are doing exactly the way we're doing it in a mobile fashion that's turnkey, that's customizable, that we say, hey, what do you guys need to augment your program? And we fit whatever they're asking for.
Who's developing the curriculum for this program?
Me, sir. And in collaboration with all the physicians and other SMEs as needed.
Is there an opportunity for sales there?
Yes, that is one thing we have done. I've done. We haven't really focused on just selling essentially curriculum and developing that, but that is right now. That is something is what I'm doing to provide and entice them, especially when you look at the price point. You want to elevate your medical training. All right, I've been in education and pre-hospital advanced care education for quite some time. So it's really easy for me to be able to help the integration of human tissue into already existing programs, as well as develop new things to address concerns of like LISCO, large-scale combat operations, and a huge dynamic shift that the military has throughout the medical departments.
And given, again, the sensitive nature, a lot of our sales are just word of mouth, especially within DoD. We really have established a reputation. That wasn't just a slide point.
Thank you, Mark and Eric. Precision anatomy. Next up, we have Ruck Socks, and Joseph Martingale is from Nashville, Tennessee.
So Joe Martingale, nice to meet everyone. A little weird because usually I'm not the second foot guy that you guys hear from in one day. But yeah, it's going to be really obvious to play who's the enlisted when we go to my slideshow compared to everyone else's. But so about us, originally Ruck Socks. Let's do this real quick. Can you raise your hand if you've been on a ruck? Good thing this is a military one. What about a hike? Okay. What about if you've had a blister? All right. There, we just did our TAM, SAM, SOM analysis right there. Done. All right. So that's the Garmin definition of what a ruck is. Merriam-Webster doesn't have one. Those are my feet after going through PSYOP selection and assessment after finishing an 18-mile ruck on the last day. Pretty gross, but I think it defines that we definitely have a problem we're trying to address right now. So we developed Ruck Socks. My friends and I decided to keep the friend group together when we got out. What can we do better than anyone else? What do we know better than anyone else? We've had officers our entire life tell us, put on 50 pounds of weight and get after it. So we've had blisters. We figured out how to deal with the problem. You go to the store. The first thing that ever happens in the Army is you're issued 6 pairs of really, really shitty socks. And the first thing you do when you graduate basic training is you go buy 5 or 6 pairs of the best socks you can get. Why are all those socks designed for civilian hiking and not military rucking? We don't know, but we thought we should solve that problem. So we did it entirely in America. There's not a single component of our supply chain outside the boundaries of the US. We basically put more high-grade merino wool into our socks than any other competitor and serve it to the customer at a better price point with, I believe, better branding and better knowledge of our customer base than any of our competition. Product overview. I could go into all the specifics. It's a sock. I don't want to bore you. What I do think hits home pretty well is we've almost sold 7,000 pairs, and we've only ever had 2 orders returned to us. That's not counting exchanges for the wrong sizes. We've had a bit more of that, but we've only ever had 2 people that wanted refunds ever in our history. They've been worn and tested by dozens of special operators on multiple continents, Northwest Africa, Somalia, you name it, it's been there. And we keep going and doing more. As of 90 minutes ago, we just crossed the $100,000 in revenue in the last 365 days mark. So that was pretty exciting to get to say that. That's Cliff. Everyone can say hi to Cliff. So yeah, TAM is like a $2 billion US stock market. We're addressing our 2 largest competitors like Darn Tough and Fox River do a combined $200 million. Say Darn Tough alone did $8.1 million in direct-to-consumer revenue just last quarter. So that's the kind of market that we're playing around with and that we're stealing market share for and hopefully piss them off sooner than later. So yeah, that's a little bit of a competitive background. I obviously, very biased, firmly believe that we have the absolute best sock on the market by a wide margin, that we are delivering to the customer at a better price point and meeting them where they are. Starting to get time warnings here. Yep, growth strategy. So about the last 4 months, we've done about $10,000 to $12,000 per month. We hope to continue that through. That's selling out of our top selling SKU that was responsible for 50% of our sales before. And we just got into a national retailer. So hopefully 105 stores across the US pretty soon. They tested us out in their top 20. And we continue to plan to grow that, build out into other wholesale distributors, the mom and pops that are around those military bases besides the natural one, and then also go and crush the direct-to-consumer market. That's like our forecast growth. So we are also in Aspeto, which is basically we're allowed to be brokered for business to government sales. So any purchase officer can go swipe the GTCC, the government credit card, and can buy up to $10,000 of our product just on a whim for their unit. And then, yeah, growing out the D2C and B2B pipeline is really the goal here. That's our 2-year action plan. That obviously gets us to that magic $1 million by the end of next year. So thanks for everyone. That's Ruck Socks. I'm Joe, and yeah, appreciate it.
What is the expansion of your product line going to do to your cost structure?
Yeah, so ideally, it'll continue to drive it down. Right now, I'd say we're operating at around we go to a farmer's market, it's above a 70% margin. When we sell it online, direct to consumer, it's 68%. When we do mom and pop shops, it's the low 60s. And then with the national retailer, obviously to close that contract, we're at like a 40-ish% margin on that contract. As we continue to grow and scale, we ideally can drive down costs on like our packaging. We already know we can save money on when we do larger wool orders from Oregon. We could probably save money on that. And then we're also just finished prototyping and have fantastic feedback on like an ankle cotton PT running sock that'll have better margins than the more expensive merino wool hiking sock.
Talk to me about what do you retail a pair at?
Yeah, $24.99 for a pair of socks. We also do a 6-pack that's in an MRE package for $124.99. We launched those in June, and they've so far grown to 25% of our revenue, and we've seen them, like Tulsi Gabbard reposted them.
What's your average gross margin then?
Like gross margin is probably like blended with the national wholesaler. Call it 50% blended with them. Like
that's a net margin. So like your gross margin, cost of goods.
Yeah, $7.25 for a pair. Sell it for $24.99.
Okay, got it. So my question is, domestic manufacture, everything you're doing domestically is great.
Yeah.
What do you think the limits are on scale there, if there are any? And where do you see potential economies of scale coming in? I'd love to see you get to an 80+ margin.
Yeah.
Or you go to direct to consumer.
Okay.
And then I think this thing opens way up.
Yeah. I think we definitely still have pricing power to grow top line. I think we're marketing at a place where we're trying to steal market share right now from the Darn Toughs that are at $29.99 and still price in that premium space so people know they're getting a product equal to that. So I do think over each of the next 2 years, it'll probably go up by $1 to grow that margin out that way. And then I do think we have 25 cents we can save if we start ordering 20,000 packaging units versus the 5,000 we've been ordering and things like that. That's probably closer to 10 I mean, like, yeah, if we're able to save, like a combined, yeah, 70 cents would be like a 10%. We could probably get that. Yeah. Yeah. Right now we're, minimum order quantity for wool is like 1,000 pounds of wool, which will make you 6,000 pairs of socks, which is all of the socks we've sold to date, basically. So, there's markdowns we could definitely get, and I do believe there's no constraints to continuing to do this in the U.S. Like I've been to every one of our part of our supply chain, and they have plenty of room to take us way up more.
How long has Darn Tough been around? Do you know?
I think since like the 70s or 80s in Vermont, I'm pretty sure.
It's a Vermont-based company. And are they doing all their manufacturing here in the United States, or they
do the manufacturing here, but they don't source everything here.
Right.
Yeah, so like a lot of the wool will come from like New Zealand or China, but our wool are strong Oregon sheep, so
right?
way better.
Do you have any DoD contracts?
Not planned, yes.
Disabled organization?
No, we have no DoD contracts. That's something that we eagerly want to get. We are an over 51% service disabled owned company. Ideally, we start getting that. We just entered the B2G market by getting in with Espedo. So now any purchase officer at a unit can buy up to $10,000 of socks. Say they're going on deployment, they get 100 grand. They can outfit their 80-man unit with socks for $20 a soldier. Like just swipe their credit card, easy day. Espedo. So like basically the contract would, the purchase officer would go on the website, see everything for sale based on NSN for his unit that he needs, go to socks, see us, make the purchase.
Most of our discussion has been focused on military users, and you've got, sounds like lots of testimonial to where these are better. As you move into, which I believe I heard, and you talked about meeting with a retailer.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you really can differentiate, which is already a bit of a crowded market, either through Walmart, through how you're differentiating, how you're proving, hey, my sock is better for this price point?
Absolutely. You might not want to hear this, but the first thing I'd say is that we'll never sell on Amazon. I think that just helps our supplier, like our relationship with who we wholesale to significantly more. Like they don't want people going in and looking at a pair of socks and then they just go buy it on Amazon for 10% less. So it's like a promise we've made to everyone that we go in is that we'll never be on Amazon. I don't think Walmart is a place that our socks will be in, if we're being completely honest. And the national retailer that we're in is US Patriot Tactical. So they have 105 stores that are in every military base. I firmly believe that you're seeing the extreme blowout of CrossFit and the Go Ruck community where rucking and weighted hikes are being really built out. So if we're able to really capture this military market first and get the validation of like the true users in the beginning, I think that's just like a leader follower model on the fact that when the civilian market goes, oh, well, we should put on backpacks and go walk. I don't know why they would do that, but they are. I don't ever want to do that again. But I think that they would look to what is used by the nation's most elite warriors. And ideally, at the end of the day, in a couple years, if any elite warrior you go look at, they're going to be wearing a pair of ruck socks.
Okay, time is up. Thank you, Joe, with Ruck Socks. Next up, we have Dandridge Melton. He is from Spartanburg, South Carolina, with Vertical Growth Farming Systems.
Hi, my name is Dan Melton. I am the president and CEO of Vertical Growth Farming Systems. We are a B corporation based out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. So I'm a math guy, so I think we're going to start with some math. So we lose about 81,000 acres of farmland every single day around the globe. That translates into 4 football fields of farmland being lost every second of every day. All the while, we're adding 200,000 people to the planet every day. So when these two trends intersect, and it's not a question of if, but when, we will have food insecurity rampant around the globe. I've got a solution to that. So there's 8 billion people on the planet, and they can be divided into 2 groups of communities. One is urban and one is rural. Currently, all the shipping container vertical farming that's happening on the planet today is servicing the urban communities. And why is that? Because as soon as you start growing crops indoors in a controlled environment, you are absolutely tethered to the grid. So this is one fact is how we differentiate ourselves from our competition, because our product is completely transportable and off the grid. Once you're tethered to the grid, you can't help the 3.6 billion people on the planet, right? Most of those live on the continent of Africa. And so many of those communities don't even have a power grid. But now we can. We've created a direct path to help those communities specifically. Our product is able to take care of those people amazingly. So here's our solution. So anywhere you have a growing season, regardless of how long it is and regardless of the soil health, we can get them a healthy food source because we're off the grid and mobile. And short of the water necessity, we are completely self-sustaining. So how are we going to get there? So we're starting with a pre-existing army of 1 million education FFA learners. And so spread across 9,400 chapters. And so we're going to teach them the nuances of vertical farming outdoors. So the whole idea is for us to get to the left side, but we got to start on the right. So the reason for my confidence in what I'm trying to do is I have multiple FFA letters from the upstate chapters saying, hey, we want and need your product. And so once we deploy our product to these FFA chapters, we'll acquire copious amounts of intel to help us get to the left side. So our bill of material, we have it down to the screw. It's $12,000, gets us the product built and landed. Our $25,000 MSRP gets you the container, the container farm, custom greenhouse, landed, and 4 years of vertical farming curriculum. And this is a value add that we've identified with FFA advisors because they are clamoring for new materials to introduce vertical farming. So our numbers are fairly conservative. We also have the opportunity for recurring revenue streams, seeds, replacement parts, nutrients. So we've identified those things. And just, I mean, think about it. Gaza and Jamaica could definitely, you can see our product landed there, right? So myself, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm battle tested. This is my 4th startup as a founder. One of my startups got me on Shark Tank season 6 as a semifinalist. But really, it's all about the team. I've got a great team from building material to navigating the NGO sector. They're all accomplished in their own right. And finally, I have an exit strategy. 6 years from now, we're going to get with a strategic buyer. I think you can feel my passion. I just need your help to do
We're
it.
going to have to stop right there, but thank you so much, Dandridge.
So, forgive me, I'm not as familiar with this sector, so I don't fully understand who you're selling this to. You referenced the FFA students. Can you elaborate a little bit more on who you're selling to, what that market sizing looks like, who you're competing with?
Yeah, so we don't really have any direct competitors because all of the vertical farming and via shipping containers is all hooked to the grid. So we're completely off the grid. But because has never been an effort for outdoor vertical farming off the grid, our first targets are the 9,400 FFA chapters.
What is FFA?
I'm sorry, Future Farmers of America. So they're 9,400 chapters spread across the U.S. And they're kids, over 1 million kids that are aspiring farmers. So we want to teach them, get the intel back from our product, and then move to our flagship product, which is a 20-footer, which I have an LOI.
Any government funding or subsidy that occurs in that space?
So there's a lot of grant money, USAID. You know, the World Food Program spends $350 million a year on feeding these rural communities. And so our product is able to assist those communities specifically.
Your cost was on the 10-foot model. The 20-foot model, say for going to a place in Uganda where that would be a great opportunity. What would that cost, do you think?
So our 10-footer built out is $12K. with an MSRP of 25,000. So our 20 footer is about 40K. At an MSRP, it costs us about 20 grand to build it out. And it can produce 1,700 plants every 60 days.
So we have a 10-foot container, right? And it's all set up with all your vertical materials inside. There must be some solar panels maybe attached to this thing for.
Yes, so it's all solar driven. So it all comes inside the container. You land it, you get your fresh water source, you put the solar panels up top. We telescope out this trellis, hang the vertical grow tube assemblies. We have a grow room in the back.
And like you said, there are some consumables within this container. So we have recurring revenue for, you said, nutrients and other,
Yeah, nutrients, seeds, replacement parts.
And when you talk about the water source, right, because that's important.
Yep.
Any hurdles there or any infrastructure things that you need to deal with, or you leave that up to the.
Yeah, so at the FFA level, right here in the U.S., yeah, water, everyone's got access to good water. It is a X factor, if you will, when you start talking about taking it to Africa. So we have been in negotiations or conversations with those NGOs that are drilling wells, because it makes total sense. Hey, you're going to the village in Kenya, you're tapping a well. Let's stick one of our 20 footers next to that.
Who's the customer? Like, who's actually buying this?
Future Farmers of America.
That's the only customer?
Yeah, So we're going to have, mom and pop farmers, survivalists, those type community gardens. They're now kind of architecturally designing, community gardens when they do development. But our target is, and they have, like I said, they are just hungry for what we're presenting, because, again, we're losing farmland.
Talk a little bit about the yields out of your 20-footer or your 10-footer.
Yeah, so our 20-footer, we can generate 1,700 plants every 60 days. If you took 8 of those 20-footers, had them all side by side, it's a 3,200 square foot footprint. So, nice size ranch style home. We can feed a family of 100 for a year with healthy calories with 8 of them.
Okay, we're all good. Thank you, Dan. With vertical growth farming systems. Next up, we have Zera
Testing.
Tech Bridge. Devin Stevenson and Don Randall will be presenting for their venture. They are from North Bay Village, Florida.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Devin Stevenson, the co-founder of Zera Tech Bridge. This is Colonel Don Randall, also co-founder. Zera, what is this name? It's Hebrew and Aramaic for seed. And if you plant the seed properly, it grows along the Tech Bridge. Disclaimer, I'm from Michigan. This is the bridge, maybe not Mackinac Bridge, but I love it. We put Christ at the foundation. All right, we're addressing the elephant in the room is the AI. What do you do with it? There's so much to do with it. Just last week on the right there, you'll see the federal government just buys all these AI tools. Well, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to upskill your workers? You're going to figure it out on the fly? No, we're going to address that. So, one, we're addressing national security concern for the talent shortage. Two, what that value of a security clearance does to your career. I'm going to read this nice and slow. So, Zera Tech Bridge, we're AI-powered workforce and ecosystem. We connect veterans and students, governments and schools to these high-demand national security roles, and we simplify the path through the bridge. We recruit, upskill, certify, and place such talent with the world-class tech talent pipeline. We're calling it ZR2, the Zera Rating and Rankings. Introducing the Zera Marketplace, launching winter, December, January. We're roughly going to shoot for December for the beta, January for the alpha, and then release to the masses. I'll walk you through that pathway. You sign up, you get your certifications, you enter the talent portal. This portal is unique. It's just like the college transfer portal for college football. And we all kind of know what that is, but this is addressing a league of talent that's unaddressed. And then you get exclusively matched with our AI-powered Zera rating and ranking system, both proactively and reactively, powered by ZR2. It's a snippet of the website. You sign up, from students to professionals, military and active duty, transitioning, all have different personas. You can sign up. The snippet of the designation models, we're addressing data analyst, data engineers, and AIE engineers, which includes the agentic engineers as well. And we're adding the EV technicians to this marketplace as a positive pivot. Access, so snippet of what the technologist talent portal is going to look like with their leaderboard on the right, with the gamification to get those gamers, that gaming community, which I have a son, he's a teenager, and he's phenomenal. He's nationally ranked for gaming. I'm like, how do I transition that talent to national security? This is what it's doing. With the bridge builder, we have the placement and the marketplace on the right there, powered by our rating and ranking algorithm. There's a snippet. We have a provisional patent through Michigan for ZR2, and there's a snippet of all the universities that offer an AIE cert. Our market size is huge, narrowing it down from all the vets, 250,000 vets per year, from vets, students, governments, and schools, all the way down with that realistic slice of national security. We're aiming for 10% of individuals, 2% of gov organizations, which is really, really low number, 28.6 million ARR. How are we doing that? We're doing it with a strategic model, but we're bootstrapping the B2B and the B2G. We have 2 defense contract companies on the books, and we're manually doing the process prior to the launch. So we are making revenue prior to the launch of our software. And we'll address the certification pipeline, the marketplace licensing and strategic data. That's where all the universities come into play. And the AI enhancements to each B2B, B2C, and B2G profile. We're competitively set to win. We can turn those competitors, such as ClearanceJobs or Indeed, or the other providers, into partners with our API launch. We're set to win. 3 veterans on the team. Dr. Borgwing is not here. Colonel Randall's on the right. We have a combined of 65 years of Department of Defense experience. Board of Advisors, all 3 CEOs, some of our hit milestones, and if you know anybody that's willing or want to opt in for national security, scan the QR code to come by the booth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So how close are you to entering the market? December?
Yes, sir. We're on Epic 5 of 7. So we're bootstrapping along the way, and we've got 1 million lines of code already for the marketplace. You come by the booth, and we'll show you what the marketplace looks like. Quick answer is yes. Short answer is we're bootstrapping. So every hour, every minute we go right to the code line and make sure everything is pre-beta tested before the release.
How are you getting your curriculum for your certifications?
Great question. Dr. Borgwing has a PhD in education, and he's also an Iraq and Army veteran. And he's our CTO.
Can you just tease out $28 million in first-year revenue?
Yes, sir.
How are we getting there? Because you have
Yes.
revenue right now or no?
Yes. Roughly 100,000 a year, 2 defense contract companies off the top. So the right of the bridge is the tech talent is already certified. We're building the left in the middle of that bridge from recruiting money, that workforce development security pipeline in the middle with the cert pipeline, which you see in the middle here with the 7 million for the designations. And that opens up advertisement for all the different universities. And roughly about 650 universities that offer an AI cert play. And we're ranking them. We're not US News. We're veterans. We're in the business. We've all been downrange. So we're giving that due diligence tool with Bridge Builder to the youth and vets and opening that up.
So as machine learning and predictive modeling, right, really grab hold of what we're doing here in society, is this a growing business or is this a declining business?
Excellent question. It's growing because of the mass purchasing of different AI tools and flavors. Most of these tools are just wrappers on an AWS or Azure backbone. What this is the opportunity to get a recertification or an upskilling model to get those folks that were just laid off, 14,000 workers from whatever corporation's laying them off because they're putting more money towards hardware and not to the upskilling. So we're given an opportunity for that future to learn that specific niche, and we can add those personas into the marketplace with the EV technicians. Potentially, as Don was saying earlier, the medic persona with that SME pipeline. So each industry is just a persona in that marketplace.
And then we're going to tie in a push. So, a lot of times if you don't join an organization that's in your industry, you may not know where that industry is going. And then you find yourself way behind, and then it's too late to pivot. So what we're doing is, as part of our process is going to be a push. Here's what's trending now. Here's what you're going to need.
I come from the aircraft business, and we have certifications that are kind of like labels, and it's not required. You can still operate like commercial flying people. So I'm confused a little bit on where the requirement is, say for a government clearance. Why would you need this? I've had government clearance and I've never heard of this.
Great question. You need a clearance to access certain levels of support to government. I'm currently in it. I support Southern Command during the day and Central Command for reserve duty. To have access to even support them, that's the first hurdle, is getting pre-qualified candidates with their background. It's like a background check. Same with the police. You go to the police station, you do a background check. You need those pre-check folks cleared and then upskilled and then to work. So we're addressing every single one of those components in that bridge.
Yeah, not only civilians, but also the military, people that are getting out for whatever reason, retiring, whatever, they don't understand the value. I was on a fairly recent contract in Saudi Arabia, and when you're talking about the two people are equal and one doesn't have a clearance and one does, you're talking about almost $50,000 a year difference in income. So it's huge. So part of that is an education thing, so people can get paid what they're due. But also, as a consumer, whether you're the student learning, you need to know what you're buying. Are you going down to the dollar store, or are you going to Macy's and purchasing something? What level of education are you getting? And then I know when I was a consumer, and even your HR people, when they're hiring or managing someone, what should be my expectation of this person based on their training? Do they have a Clemson education, or did they go to Ole Miss like I did and they're down here?
Yeah. So, I mean, the power of your tool is building up the community of people that are increasing these training levels, and so that's your pool of candidates with the people, the employers that are looking for these skills. I'm still struggling with how you're uniquely doing something here to identify those people and build up that pool.
Yeah. So all of government has high-level tech talent. And to get to that high level, it requires 2 to 3 hurdles. First, the clearance. Second is that certification with specific, we'll say, Palantir software. You need a builder certification. So that builder certification is added to our curriculum pipeline for a data analyst. So now you have your clearance, and now you have your analyst pipeline. And Clemson may or may not offer that subcert, that subclass. And we hold that master rubric of saying, hey, you made it through each check. And now our AI powered says, hey, Lockheed Martin, hey, SRC, hey, Booz Allen, we have a qualified candidate. What do you pay for that? And the open market for a top secret cleared with the poly is anywhere from 15 to 30,000 per individual that's cleared and talented and ready to go for work, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Devin and Don with
Thank you.
Zera Tech
Thank you.
Bridge. Okay, so that was exciting, and we are on time, which is pretty impressive. We want to thank all the judges, our online judges. We have online judges, and up here we have a list of our in-person judges, which are here up front, our online judges, which are on Zoom, and our coaches, which we have coaches in the audience as well. They couldn't wait to come and see those that could be here, the teams that they worked with over the past couple of weeks. We appreciate all of the attendance here as well. This is very exciting. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hannon.
We're going to discharge the judges here in a moment, and Michelle is going to work with them to make sense of everything and make very, very difficult decisions. So we have our 5 in-person judges, and we have our 5 online judges. So that being said, let me just conclude with a couple remarks here. This program was put together by the Launchpad here, and there's one soon-to-be famous person. We're not going to talk about them, but on the front, about in the middle, is General Raymond. He was the first. He led Space Force. He was the first commander of Space Force. I think that's the right word. Underneath him is actually Martin Levins, and it is necessary for me to gather myself and salute Martin. Martin was an intern here this summer for us, but maybe certainly more importantly, his father and I poured the foundation for our military competition last year, which was a precursor to this. Regrettably and sadly, we lost a friend and a colleague when Martin passed on March 11th. So we've been sort of reflecting on that, and we're grateful to him, and we're sure that he's looking down on us joyfully, hopefully. I think he would be proud of what we've accomplished here today, and I'll touch that in another second. In the upper right-hand side, and Ben Scarden is also on the front as well, but that is Clemson alumni who survived the March of Bataan and lived to, Max would know, but I think 104 or something like that. But he kept going back to a commemorative march year after year into his, I think he did it at 100. So just a true Clemson gentleman. So we're grateful to all the teams that came from across the Southeast. And we had 23 applicants, and these were the best as we could tell, which I'll touch on here in a second as well. But what most of you probably didn't see who've been seated here for the duration of this is what I would, sort of emotional and touching support team by team. So after every team went back, everybody gave fist bumps, everybody gave high fives. This is a competition, but the level of support, I think, is indicative of the fraternity of our service people. And for that, I admire it. And for that, we're grateful. I just want to talk to the teams for 1 second. Like I said, it's going to be a very difficult decision. I don't know how it's all going to get managed in that room. But you have to remember as you participate in all these, and if you go before venture capital, the term that I use is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if we had 5 different judges, they may have 5 different results. I think with the 8 or 10 judges we're going to have, there's going to be some concentration, but don't get discouraged. We're going to end up with 5 prize winners, but in our eyes, you're all winners. And the exposure that you've gotten, the connections that you've made are going to serve you well. More so than the money, because the amounts of money we're given is quite generous, but it's only seed money really to get things started. But I've observed teams winning $5,000, $10,000 and creating companies and selling for $50 million 10 years later. So there is a verse that says, do not despise small beginnings. And last year was a small beginning, and this is, unimaginably better. And so we're grateful for that. So that being said, I'm going to turn the mic over to my boss and the chief of staff for the president of Clemson University. And then Max will introduce Frank Blake. Frank, we didn't talk about before, but he flew 17 and a half hours from Cape Town, South Africa to be here. Landed in Atlanta at 9 this morning, drove in a car for 2.5 hours, and is here with us. That's indicative of his commitment and character. So that being said, I'm going to turn over to Max Allen.
Thank you, Dr. Hannon. First of all, let's give a round of applause to John Hannon. He is leading this effort down here and done a wonderful job. I need to start off by, first of all, thanking everyone for being here. This is a dream, a vision of mine, of President Clements, to have this place and have things like this military veteran pitch competition taking place. As a military veteran myself, retired Navy commander, it gives me great pride to see something like this happening at Clemson University. We take great pride in our military and certainly our veterans community in general, and so we are certainly there. As the judges leave, I just want to thank them for volunteering their time to be in this and the deliberations that I know that they're going to do. So we certainly appreciate, whether it's online or in person, the judges' help. It is really my pleasure to be here to greet you this afternoon on the back end. All of the teams that submitted application to be a part of this and those that were selected and pitched today, thank you for that. As John said, it's a real honor to just be here, be a part of it. And however the competition turns out, you're all winners because you have created something that you have dreamed as possible for what you think is something that's needed in this country. So for you and your vision that you're taking about looking at in your particular company, we just give you all the kudos you're doing. So let's give a round of a hand to all of the competition today. And now I won't take much more time because I think it's important that we just honor and appreciate the vision of Frank Blake and his family for creating something like this. I know we have been talking to Frank for some time about the whole idea of being able to help with what we're trying to do with this entrepreneurship hub here at Clemson. It is really unique, and it is something that we take great pride in, and certainly Frank has stepped up and his family has stepped up to help us bring something like this possible. He's a Clemson ROTC alumnus. I won't read all of it. It's in your booklet. But one of the things I would just say about Frank, he's passionate about Clemson. He's passionate, and his wife both are passionate about Clemson, passionate about the work that we're doing. He served as the vice president at Home Depot for many years, and he's been deeply involved in everything Clemson. And certainly I am honored to have him here, and certainly didn't know he had flown back from Africa all those hours and drove from Atlanta just to be here for this inaugural event. This is just the first of many that we hope to basically be able to do every year around what we're doing. We're hoping to grow it every year and hoping to have many more teams and many more students groups at Clemson as well as around the country, because we want this to be a really truly a national event, not just a Southeastern event, but a national event. And so we're going to be building upon this success and building upon the things that we're doing here and building upon the entrepreneurship network at Clemson. And so for all of you, are there any first timers in the room other than the picture? Any first timers here at this? There are a few in the back. Oh, thank y'all for being here, and certainly hope you found your experience to be wonderful, because this is a special place. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Frank Blake. So Frank, thank you for being here.
I just flew in from Africa, and boy, are my arms tired. No, so I don't really have any prepared remarks. I just say join what everyone has said already, an excellently run event by the Launchpad. You guys absolutely hit a home run. Also, though, hold on, I mean, also just really, really great presentations, and not just from a presentation quality, but from a business thought process quality. Really, I'm genuinely impressed. And I think maybe the only thing harder than flying back from Africa today is the job that the judges have to pick the winners of today's contest. So look, the last thing I would just say in closing is to ask a favor. And the first favor would be to say, hey, let's stay around for the trade show. And if you heard something that was interesting, then engage in the startups that you have interest in. Or if you had some questions for them, now's the time to ask them those questions. Or if you have some comments or critique or any feedback, you know, I know these folks came a really long way, and they'll benefit from everybody's thoughts. And so that's sort of the first favor. And then the second favor is please tell all your friends. And if you came here from out of town, or if you're involved in a startup ecosystem somewhere else, tell them about what you saw here today, and tell them about the momentum that we're trying to build with this type of activity, so that next year it's an even harder task for the judges. And with that, I just want to say thank you, and I hope I'm not expected to tap dance while the judges are, because I can be up here, you know, I can tell stories. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
So we're just waiting for another minute. We had 4 judges online from California, trying to think, Savannah, Andrew is in Atlanta, I think, and from across the country. So we're grateful to them too for hanging with us for 2 hours. Scott, you want to summarize anything while we have a little bit of time? Or
I think this is great. I mean, it's to me, it's always amazing to see the creativity, right? That we all think that there's already an app for everything, there's already a business for everything, and then here you have all these different teams come in with completely new ways to think about things. It's very inspiring. So thank you guys for including us.
Sure. So I was here last year, and I know we're calling this the inaugural Frank Blake competition, but last year was wildly different. And I can tell you from sitting in this chair for the second year that the competition is far stronger, the ideas are far stronger, the financials are far stronger. And if this is the trajectory that we are going here at the Launchpad with these case competitions, I can only imagine what next year is going to look like. As Scott had mentioned, the ideas are wonderful. Just when you think that everything has been thought of, all the creativity is out there. It never ceases to amaze me that we have some great young minds thinking of new creative ways to solve issues that are in front of us every day and for the long term. It's great.
Thank you all for the presentations. They were really outstanding, and it's always tough. I was talking to one group before we started that getting your first 5-minute pitch out and getting the information in there is a challenge. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And secondly, it was very, very difficult for me. I'll just speak for myself, but I think the other guys felt the same way. This is kind of like ranking the top 10 football teams. It doesn't mean very much unless you're one of those 10 teams, And so congratulations to each one of you guys there's opportunities there regardless of what the results are today.
Yeah, I want to echo the comment just regarding the creativity of ideas. It's inspiring for us boomers to see so many great minds coming with all these great ideas, and your persistence and a lot of self-funding that you've put together yourself to take a chance on your ideas. It is fantastic to see. The other cool thing that I loved is everybody had a whether formal or informal kind of board of directors. I always try to teach young kids you need to build out your own board of directors as you develop your careers. And it was really good to see the strength and knowledge that you're tapping into, because I tell you, that's what's going to get you to where you're trying to get to is the knowledge that you bring together in your, again, formal or informal board of directors. So keep doing that, please.
Yeah, it's nice to sit here. Yeah, I'm actually sort of between the Bay Area and Tahoe, and it's nice to be able to actually see that great ideas and creativity and great work is coming from places other than Silicon Valley. It's a myth that you guys shattered today. I mean, it's just like there's a lot of great thoughts, a lot of great ideas, a lot of great energy, and you don't have to be in Palo Alto, within 30 miles of Palo Alto to be that kind of stuff. I think you've done a fabulous job showing that, and I think that's really great.
Thanks, Dr. Hannon. It was really a good group of businesses. I think each and every one of you will do very, very well as you move forward. As John said, Dr. Hannon said, those of you that may not get the chalice this time, when you head for capital, you're going to get more no's than you get yeses. So get used to it. Start collecting them because you're just that much closer to a yes. Well done. I'm very, very pleased with what we saw today. And thank you again for what you've done starting this whole thing. We really appreciate it.
Okay, it's time for the awards. 5th place goes to Heirloom, $1,000. Come on up. Congratulations. Okay, coming in 4th place, we have Precision Anatomy with $2,000. Mark, yep, and Eric, come on up. All right, 3rd place, we have Phase 3 Therapy. Congratulations. All right, 2nd place for $10,000. Nature Athletics. Come on up. Okay, and now for the first place winner, we have, drum roll, Ruck Socks, $12,000. Way to go, Joe. And like Dr. Hannon mentioned, you're all winners. So congratulations to all of our finalists. They are going to be heading upstairs to where they've set up tables so you can talk with them and learn more about what they're working on and what their venture is and see some examples of stuff. So make yourself at home, enjoy. There's some snacks upstairs in the conference room. And yeah, thank you all for attending.
Go Tigers. Be blessed.